Peace for the Troubled Heart. Chapter 7, Part 1. Rest for the Weary. Come unto me, all ye that labour and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Toiling. Do you know by experience the sad and disheartening implication of that word? Nay, if you would understand its meaning, do not summon before the eyes of your imagination the picture of the daily labourer in the shops, or of the husbandman in his field, who rises early in the morning and returns home in the evening, tired and weary, and longing to forget the burdens of the day in restful sleep. For however heavy the work may be that he finds waiting for him every morning, and however fatigued his frame may be when the daily task is finished, and he lies down to rest in the evening of every day, he returns home in the consciousness that the task is accomplished, and that he may forget the struggles of the day. Rather, imagine the man who is groaning under the burdens, too heavy for human strength to bear, or think of the man who is labouring at a hopeless task. All the strength of body and mind he exerts to exhaustion. To accomplish the work is the ambition of his life. From early morning until late at night he struggles and strives and ponders and plans. Incessantly he labours with all his might. Yet he fails, and after all his attempts, he finds in the end that he is farther from the goal than in the beginning. Real toil is to strive with all your strength of body and mind for an end that is never achieved, for it is to labour hard and incessantly at a hopeless task that can never be accomplished. And are you acquainted with the spiritual significance of the word? It is the spiritual toilers under burden too heavy for them who the Lord calls in the text. It is a toiling that its deepest root is born from the heart's desire to get right with God, to know that we have peace with the Most High, and that His favour is with us. The heart, then, somehow realises that God's loving kindness cannot be enjoyed, and that we cannot be the objects of His favour except on a basis of a righteousness that is valid before Him. For He is righteous, we know, and spotlessly holy. The heart feels too that this basis of righteousness and justice cannot be established, except the law is fulfilled with all its demands are perfectly satisfied, and we begin at the task to gain the desired peace in the way of accomplishing our own frustration of the entire law. But as we labour and toil to fulfil the law of the Lord, we experience that she is a severe mistress, and although we may labour with all our might, anxious to hear from her the sentence that is enough, repeatedly she flings us back with her terrible words, "Cursed is he that does not abide perfectly in all that is written in me." And toiling on still, we find that we increase our guilt daily, that the task is a hopeless one, and groaning under heavier burdens than before we commence the struggle. We are inclined to abandon the attempt and hang the harps in the willows, still longing, yet despairing. Are you sin-weary? Do you find the burden of the law too heavy to bear? Have you toiled with it, groaned under it, and been oppressed by it until you succumbed in grief and despair? Take courage then, for the wise and prudent do not know this weariness. They either care not to be righteous, or they boast of a righteousness that is a vain thing before the Lord. And never would they acknowledge that the natural man can only increase his sin daily. Take courage, for the Lord calls you by name. Weary toiler, come unto me. He will give you rest.